Hi, I'm Lucia Beltran. You might remember me from school. I'm senior 2022. And what has been of this year, I have been studying and preparing for international exams. Well, to begin with, I have been studying all year on an online academia, which obviously has been helpful, but it's been a really big change of pace from what high school was for me. First of all, everything's online, obviously, but the class dynamics are really different from what high school was because it's not even Zoom where everyone has their cameras on and the students give back their opinions or even answers to certain exercises. It's more like a conference. The teacher explains the topic and then puts exercises and gives the explanation of how they should be solved. Now I'm gonna dig a little bit more into explaining how the acceptance or not of Spanish universities goes. Every career has a different nota de corte, which is the name they give to the average grade you get between 60% high school and 40% the grade of set exams that I have been talking about. In some careers, the ones which are easier to get into, that's the actual proportion, 60% of 5th and 6th grade, and then 40% from the exams. But in most careers, there's an extrapolation of that. So it's 40% high school grades and then 60% exam grades. And the weight of each exam varies according to your career. For instance, if you're gonna study medicine, pharmaceutical chemistry, biochemistry, obviously biology, chemistry and math counts greater than history or literature, but you need to sit for all of those exams. With the grade that I mentioned before, which proportions vary according to the undergrad that you're choosing, there's a national list of everyone that applies in grade order. So the first one got the highest grade in the entire country of people who applied, and from there it goes. So some careers are fairly easy to get into, like history of art. Just by finishing high school, you're in. You have to do the exams, but you don't need a particular grade. But other careers, such as engineering or medicine, you have to get almost 100% in most exams. So that's something that's really difficult to achieve, especially if you have not finished high school in Spain and you need to study everything on your own. That's for going to public universities, of course. Private universities have a very different system. Some of them don't even require a grade, and others do, but it's much lower. In Spain, for most career, public universities are much more highly regarded by the general population than private universities. However, it obviously varies from each branch and career path. All in all, my personal recommendation, if you're considering Spain as an option, is first of all, check the grade requirement your career has. I think most people would consider public university, considering both costs and prestige. But the first thing I would recommend you to check is the grade requirements, because if it's something doable, definitely try it and apply for public university because you're most likely to make it. However, if what you want to study is something that has a very high requirement, I would maybe recommend looking at private universities, and if that's something that's out of reach or that you don't want to go to, maybe try to not take it too seriously and not get frustrated by the system, because there's a reason why the Spanish system is in crisis. Obviously, it's excellent education, it's part of the European Union and meets all its standards, but there is a current crisis because requirement grades have gotten up so much recently. Personally, I think the hardest part of the exams is not the actual content, but the extension of the subjects. History, for instance, is a compulsory subject, and it goes from when humans reached the Iberian Peninsula to 2020. Another example is chemistry, which is not particularly hard, but it includes topics from all 6 years of high school and most of the syllabus from chemistry from the IGCSEs. So as you can tell, most subjects are not hard per se, but are very long. Now that I have had the entire experience and I have already sat for the exams, I do want to say it's something that really prepares you for college. Honestly, the experience that I consider closest to this that I had during high school was sitting for the IGCSE exams. I think it really resembles the dynamic because even though you have classes, you have to study most of it on your own, especially if you want to get a good grade. But if that's something you really want, don't get discouraged by my words. I obviously think it's worth it, that's why I'm doing it. You should really dig into it and plan ahead as much as you want. I hope this was helpful.